Hello and good day everybody. I'm just going to do a quick update to a previous video I had done with the Freescale FRDM KL25Z development board and updating or changing the bootloader while using Windows 7 or Windows 8. I'm not going to get into Mac or Linux or anything on this video. I just want to update my previous video which focused on Windows 7 and 8. At that time there were issues with the board not being recognized by a Windows 8 PC. It wouldn't see a mass storage device when they were trying to upload programs to it or update the bootloader. All that stuff has since changed and been updated. The process of changing or updating the bootloader has not changed, but I just wanted to refresh my video and show the new links, new places to get the new information. I will be doing another video in the future going into CodeWarrior and some other details, so I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail about the board and how to program it. We're basically just going to update the bootloader, install a pre-compiled example, flash it to the program memory just to make sure the bootloader is working properly. So there's a lot of helpful information on the Freescale's product page for the KL25Z board. You can find it pretty easily just by Googling FRDM KL25Z, and typically the first result that shows up is the product summary, product page at Freescale. And for the sake of the bootloader, what we want is under the Downloads tab, there's this Quick Start package. As soon as you click on that, it's going to download this folder. This got OpenSDA applications, precompiled examples, and this quick start guide. OpenSDA applications does have some bootloaders in it. We're not interested in those. They're not the newest, greatest ones. But what we're interested in is this precompiled examples. This has some examples in there we can just upload to the board just to make sure the bootloader is working properly. So you'll want to get that. And we'll also go to PEmicro.com/OpenSDA/. And if you don't already have the drivers, the USB drivers for Windows installed, you can get them right here. It's pedriversinstall.exe, and that will give you just an executable application that will install the drivers for the board. Once you install those drivers, or if you have them installed already, you can skip this step. But if you have the board oriented with the capacitive touch slider on the right, this being the top, this being the bottom, this bottom USB port, there's two USB ports. This bottom one is the SDA port. You'll see in the silk screen in white next to it says SDA. This is the one that we want to use right now. We just want to plug your USB mini cord into that and just make sure your host PC recognizes the board as a mass storage device with the FRDM KL25Z name. If you're using Windows 8 or you don't have autoplay enabled, this window won't automatically pop up. You'll just have to go into my computer and just make sure FRDM KL25Z shows up as a mass storage device. If that shows up, you know the drivers are installed properly and the PC recognizes the board. Once you know the PC is recognizing the board as a mass storage device, you want to grab this firmware apps. Firmware apps, it's a zip file. Once you unzip it, it's going to be a folder with a ton of different bootloaders in it. And it'll be, once you unzip it, you'll have this folder, PEmicro OpenSDA. And inside there is a bunch of stuff. The one we're interested in for the KL25Z and the bootloader that we want is this MSD debug 11.4. If you're using Windows 8, you want to use 11.1 or newer. 11.4 has got the least amount of bugs for Windows 8. And this bootloader will let you debug Flash programs, pretty much do whatever you want with the board. In the past, you had to use a separate bootloader depending on what you're doing with the board. If you wanted to debug it, you had to install a different bootloader. If you wanted to do something else, you had to install a different bootloader. So this is one we want. And another helpful page, just real quick, code project, and writing your first program. If you just Google writing your first program with Freescale or writing your first program with CodeWarrior, you should be able to find this. I'm not affiliated with Code Project in any way. I do use their site. It's got a lot of helpful information on there. I don't know who this Jan Dolany is, but I've found this page to have a lot of helpful information on it, and it can help you get going with CodeWarrior and some other stuff too, and it'll show you how to start a new project and everything. Like I said earlier, I will be doing another video here in the near future on CodeWarrior and some other details with the board, but for now we just want to update the bootloader. And he has also got a couple of links to where to get the bootloader and this PE Micro folder. That's the same thing that we got from PE Micro's website, this firmware apps. And he gives the name of the bootloader here, MSD debug, blah de blah. That's what we want out of this guy right here. So once you've located that, what we want to do is we want to put the Freedom board into bootloader mode. So with the USB cord unplugged, you want to hold down the reset button. Reset button is this little white and black push button in between the two USB ports. You want to hold that down while you plug in the USB cord and then release it. And it should show up now with the name of bootloader and not KL25Z. It should show up as a mass storage device bootloader. Again, if you're using Windows 8, go into My Computer and open that directory there, or I should say that drive. So once you got that open, you just want to drag and drop our bootloader in there. Make sure you grab the one for KL25Z or whichever board you're working on. They do have the KL26, a bunch of different ones. Make sure you're grabbing the right one. You can just copy and paste or drag and drop that into the bootloader. And once that's done, it usually takes typically 3 to 5 seconds at the most, and you'll start seeing this little green LED blinking about once every second or so. Once that's blinking about once every second or so, it's done installing the new bootloader. So now to check out and make sure it's working properly, we'll unplug it since we don't want to be in bootloader mode anymore, and we want to go to our quick start package. It's Freedom KL25Z quick start package that we had gotten from the Freescale site, this guy here. Once you open that up, go to precompiled examples, and inside here are just some example programs that just show the functionality of the board. So with these, just plug your USB cord back in and do not hold the reset button down. We just want to throw it into, this is one way of using OpenSDA to program it. This is not how you would do it from CodeWarrior, but this is if you got a complete program packaged that you want to flash to the program memory. Open that mass storage device, and you just want to drag and drop one of these programs in there. This demo, OOBE demo, is the original one that came with the board. If you bought the board from Freescale, this is what comes pre-installed on it when it's new. You can just copy and paste or drag and drop that into that folder and it'll automatically flash that program into the program memory on the board. And you'll notice the LED changing color, going through its thing. When it's done, you can touch the capacitive touch slider in different places to change the brightness on the LED. And that's pretty much it. So this here, once you're at this stage, the board is basically at the spot it was when it came new from the factory with one of the newest bootloaders installed on it. If you want to, you can play around with a couple of these other programs. Throw them in there to see what they do. One that's kind of neat is an accelerometer. This uses the onboard accelerometer. Depending on which direction you tilt it, it changes colors of the RGB LED, and that is using the I2C bus and pulse width modulation. So if you use that, if you run that program, you pretty much know your accelerometer is working, the I2C bus is working, pulse width modulation with the LED is working. That's kind of a fun one. I'd show you that one, but the lighting I have, I got this incandescent light right above my table here that really screws with the reflection. You can't see it very good. But that's it for now. Again, stay tuned or subscribe to my YouTube. I will be doing future videos of Code Warrior and a few other microcontrollers and just some embedded system projects that we got going on. Thanks for watching.